Hi everybody, Mike Griffith here along with Chip Towers, and Georgia just concluded practice number 6, and they also finished up their coaching clinic. So that means Lane Kiffin was here to speak along with Doug Peterson, the Philadelphia Eagles head coach. And then of course Kirby Smart was telling some folks how he does things too, Chip. And you know, the practice portion that I saw, I'm pretty impressed. These young players, 14 early enrollees, I think there's some guys that are going to make an impact.
Well, I think that's definitely where the buzz is right now. I mean, first off, you had a lot of them to start with, but, you know, Kirby tends to be pretty measured in his praise, you know, when it comes, especially the young guys. He talks about them being, what do they call them, rat trap, and, you know, just all these different terms he has for what they're having to do. But he's been very complimentary of several of them, been specific about Nakobe Dean, Jermaine Johnson, Nolan Smith, some other guys he's referred to specifically. Not as much room to make an impact on the offensive side of the ball, but that's definitely been impressive. And then today, you know, I thought it created quite a bit of a buzz that Zamir White's out there running around. I mean, you know, he's not doing any 11 on 11. He's not going to hit anybody or be hit, at least until I would say well into preseason camp. But I mean, I was impressed with what I saw about his ability to run around. So there's been a lot of I would say very positive kind of wow moments this spring.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You look on the offensive line, Jamari Salyer, a guy that came in ranked as the #1 offensive guard in the country, Chip, but he wasn't an early enrollee, so he fell behind K. Mays and Trey Hill last year and really wasn't able to catch up during the season. Now he started to get some reps as the year went on, and then the Sugar Bowl practices gave a lot of young players opportunities. But this spring he's really come on and backing it up. I mean, you know, he's getting reps ahead of Ben Cleveland with the first team at right guard. Now, I'm not saying he's going to start, but those reps are very valuable, Chip. And if Kirby's got him taking first team reps at right guard or right tackle, I almost wonder, has he moved past Cade Mays as that 6th offensive lineman?
Well, you know, and what it is, you know, but in the meantime, you know, Cade Mays getting a lot of looks out of right tackle as well, and Isaiah Wilson is well entrenched there, as we all know. I mean, I don't think he's done anything to give up that position.
No.
So, you know, two things about that. One, I think Jamari Sawyer's probably been the most positive thing that we've seen so far this whole spring. You know, this is a 5-star guy. Everybody was wondering last year, where is he? Where is he? As some other guys made their way, like Trey Hill, into the rotation. There was nothing wrong with Jamari Sawyer. He was late in getting here. He wasn't early enrollee last year.
Now we call that late now.
Yeah, now
it
it's late.
It used to be if you got in during the summer, you were actually early.
Well, yeah, now you're still here by July, no matter what.
Yeah.
So it's all. I remember when the guys used to show up in the parking lot there at McWhorter Hall, unloading their car in August. That's the first time they showed up.
And we could
campus.
Interview them. Remember that? We could actually
talk to them as they were going in. So, no, but Jamari, to make it clear, Georgia's offensive line, you know, it's going to be hard pressed to find one that's not just better than Georgia's is, but deeper. I mean, I mean, everybody knows that we've written about it all ad nauseum, but what Sam Pittman and Kirby Smart have been able to do in terms of recruiting talent here, you can mix and match a lot of different ways. And, you know, in addition to Jamari working with the first team today out here on this field at right guard, he's also working at right tackle as well and working at center. And, you know, Sam Pittman, he always likes, you never know who's going to end up with a shoulder injury or dinged or something has to come out. And he likes to see what are these combinations and who looks best where.
Yeah, no doubt. I think this will be the best offensive line in the country. I've said that. I don't have any reason not to believe it. You know, the quarterback situation, Chip, when, you know, let's face it, when Justin Fields transferred, you know, he had a lot of reps last year. He had a lot of opportunities, and those were reps that could have gone to somebody else. Now Justin gone, and you're looking at 2 quarterbacks, Stetson Bennett, who's been here once before as a walk-on, now back as a scholarship guy after a year at junior college, and Dwan Mathis. And you had an opportunity to visit with Stetson Bennett today, and I'll let you share a little bit about him, and then I'll give you my take on Dwan Mathis.
Well, he's a terrific kid, and he's fun. We've actually written about him a good bit before we got a chance to finally talk to him. I wasn't sure whether we'd speak to him, whether Kirby was going to treat him as a first-year player or what, but, you know, that's, and you know this, that's a little bit of an indication in of itself that when Kirby allows players to come up to be interviewed. So I think he definitely had to show some confidence in Stetson Bennett in and of itself, but he's just a great story and an interesting guy, and just wears his heart on his sleeve, very open about, you know, he was this far from signing with Louisiana when Georgia called on National Signing Day, and he wakes up to messages, you know, from Georgia coaches saying that they'd like to talk to him, and et cetera, and the rest is history. he had a very good opportunity to go to Louisiana and be the man. But he wanted to come back to Georgia. He's a Georgia guy. His parents both graduated from Georgia. He's always wanted to go to Georgia. And Jake Fromm is the man, and he knows that. But that said, he still believes he can be a starting quarterback at the University of Georgia, and that's what his mind is on. So he talked today about how he's following Jake Fromm's lead in every way, shape, or form that he can. He went out to the quarterback country camp just like Jake Fromm does. He's studying the playbook like Jake Fromm does, and Jake Fromm's not going to be here forever, and Stetson's going to be here at least for another year or two behind him. So he's he's got designs on winning that job sooner or later. Now there's another quarterback, Dwan Mathis, going to have something to say about it. I spent more time than I've had the entire spring kind of focusing on him today, and he's such a good looking athlete, and there's no denying he's 6'6", and got a good upward high release, which is very, very important in this game. So the competition is not going to go away for Stetson Bennett, but the bottom line is he wanted to be at Georgia. He's at Georgia, and let me tell you, Georgia's very happy he's here now because of their quarterback situation.
It's interesting. When Dwan Mathis first came to Georgia, he wanted to be at Georgia too, but Justin Fields was already here.
Yeah.
So it didn't make a whole lot of sense for Dwan Mathis to follow up on his visit to Georgia, which was actually that summer before in July, and he moved on and ended up committing to Ohio State. So he thinks, he's thinking he's going to go to Ohio State, and all of a sudden he starts hearing that Ohio State's talking to Justin Fields about a transfer. So he asks Ohio State, y'all talking to Justin Fields? No, plans changed. We're not talking to Justin Fields. He talks to Georgia. Georgia says, well, we think Justin could end up at Ohio State. On signing day, Chip, Dwan Mathis has to make a decision, because he talks to the new Ohio State head coach who says, no, we're not talking to Justin Fields. He talks to Georgia who says, we think Justin Fields is talking to Ohio State, and he's got to make a call before he goes in there. And he had scholarship papers for both schools.
Yeah.
And Dwan Mathis ends up signing with Georgia. So now he comes here. His recruitment was 24 hours maybe. There wasn't much talk. Georgia fans weren't talking about him on message boards. They weren't talking about how great he was going to be. There was no courtship. There was nobody watching his game film. And now that he's here, it's a lot about Stetson Bennett, a guy that a lot of players are familiar with. And Dwan has, as quietly as possible for a 6'6" athlete, gone into the background. Now, does that mean Georgia's not interested in him? Does that mean that he may not develop into a guy that can win games? I will say this. I think in a short-term situation, Stetson Bennett is probably a better answer because he's been here before, he knows the offense, and he's a third-year collegiate quarterback. But if something were to happen early in the season to Jake Fromm, I'm not so sure Georgia wouldn't simplify the offense to get the 6'6" guy out there with a 10.8 100-yard dash. So in that respect, I feel like it's a good situation in that you've got an older guy who may have more physical limitations but no more of the offense, and then a younger guy who's got that big upside, that 6'6" frame, big arm, and great speed. So I kind of feel like Georgia's got it about as covered as it could be under the circumstances. Now today, Chip, we had an opportunity, and we'll wrap up with this, to talk to some players. You talked with Tate Crowder. You just posted a story. I want to know, how convinced are you that Tate Crowder can be the playmaker they need in the middle this year?
Well, I went and dug into the stats a little bit last year, and I didn't really, if you look at, all this discussion about havoc plays, Tate Crowder led all linebackers in the area of havoc plays.
Yeah.
He had 2 interceptions. He returned one of them 40-something yards against Missouri. Had the big fumble recovery against Florida. Georgia didn't end up scoring, but that's another thing. Had a fumble caused, had pass breakups. He was very active. So I think Tate Crowder, and this was the interesting thing what we talked about today, and you can read about on Dog Nation, is that actually if you look at his timeline, when Roquan Smith kind of made the big jump in the second half of his sophomore year, well, this is kind of like the second half of Tate Crowder's sophomore year. He moved late in the 2016 season and didn't really play or anything. So it's 17 and 18 that he actually got work on the field. Well, now he's starting 19, and he feels pretty confident. But there's not only the confidence factor. I asked him, of course, about the competition with Nakobe Dean and Tresman Marshall, who eventually get in, and Ryan Davis, and all these, blue chip linebackers are coming in the situation. He said, my job is to lead them and to teach them what they need to do and teach them how to trust the coaches, just like Roquan Smith did to me, and just like he's doing to Channing Tindall and Quay Walker.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens at the Mike linebacker. I had a chance to visit with Isaiah Wilson, a guy that was a freshman All-American that redshirted his season, got better, and now talking about a leadership role, Chip. And to me, you can't have enough leadership on this football team. Isaiah Wilson, I think, is a guy, he was a freshman All-American last year. I think has all SEC potential. And Chip, I think he could be a first or a second round pick in this next NFL draft in 2020. In fact, they may be having to replace a lot of guys. So if you're wondering why Georgia continues to attract the best offensive linemen in the country, it's because Sam Pittman is turning these guys into NFL players. You're going to see a big influx of Georgia offensive linemen in the next couple years. Chip, that's going to wrap it up for today. Practice number 6 is in the books. It's hard to believe we're almost halfway through spring drills. There's 15 of them. It culminates on the 20th of April at 2 p.m. with the G-Day game. And Chip and I will continue to bring more coverage. Brandon Adams was here today as well, helping us cover practice. So you're going to see a lot on Dog Nation this weekend. Check us out. We appreciate it. Everybody have a great weekend.